Coach, I wish we were doing this yesterday. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but appreciate you taking time here on Sunday morning. I'm sure being Sunday morning, the gut punch that was yesterday probably still feels like a gut punch.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, first, obviously for the fans, we would never not do a radio interview regardless of outcomes or anything. That's our job. You know that, and came up here and whatever technical difficulties happen, but you guys do a great job and work with whatever you have going on. But sometimes that stuff happens, so that's why I told you last night. Let's just do one tomorrow morning then. And so yeah, I think. Obviously this is a little bit different than doing it, 20 minutes right after a game. But, yeah, the feeling, is the same. And, that's the tough part of this profession. Sometimes you feel like, you've just been punched in the gut. You've been hit by a truck almost, and, those feelings are real, and we definitely have them today. I mean, as far as that game goes, the range of emotions, the 4 hours of the ups and downs that come with a game like that. Obviously, a really good football game, an exciting football game, one that I feel like our players left their heart and soul out there competitively. They obviously made one more play than we did. You're sitting there, reflecting back. If you make one of those plays, the feeling that you would have had yesterday compared to the one that you have today, and that's the one that you're going to have to live with when you put yourself out there in competitive environments. And so we'll. I know this, leadership is hard. Nobody says that it's supposed to be easy, and leaders are, in their positions for times like this, like when things are easy. Leaders can almost sometimes be in the back and let people go. But in times like this, you've got to continue to stand in front of your team, and we'll do that today. When the guys get in this afternoon, and this group of guys will collect themselves, and it doesn't mean it'll be easy, but it'll be what we do. And we've got one more game to put our heart and souls back on the line, and that's what we have to do.
Look, there's a lot we can dive into from the game. It was a long game. There were so many critical plays on both sides of the ball throughout. But as you said, your team left it all on the field, and not just your team, but really your seniors. And of all of them, I feel bad for all of them. But Jay Jones, he was a guy we were talking about even leading into the week of the improvement he has made throughout his career. The one-handed grab he had to set up a score, to obviously the score on the opening drive. Jay played, not arguably, that was his best game. And you feel for guys like that who in their senior year have made so much improvement and just have a day to remember.
Yeah, so many of our guys, and when 27 of them walked. And so that's what I continue to say. These guys, I think I said that in the post-game press conference, was just, this group of guys I've never had to question. That's why I'm not going to question how they come to work this week. But they've been a great group. They've been coachable. They've responded well, and that's what hurts as a head coach. Is allowing them to have a big win, or to celebrate and to keep going. When you're the head coach, you don't want to let other people down. No one more than the guys that sit in that room. They look to you for answers. And a lot of guys, they all did. They put their heart and souls out there. Jay Jones played a great game, made some big-time plays along with a lot of other guys. There was opportunities throughout the game, that we can get into that, you feel like we need to be better to maybe not, a 17-point lead in the second half, being able to close the game out. And we weren't able to get that done. And that ultimately falls on me. Like how do you give those guys that one play? Ultimately, it's a collective thing, and that's what I said. We lose and we win as a team, as an organization, and didn't get it done yesterday.
As the game was going throughout, you had to replace 3 guys on that offensive line that went in. How did you feel about their effort, especially to give you guys a chance? I know offensively didn't finish drives there in the third and fourth quarter that you would like, but man, in overtime, you guys were finished.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of those guys. I mean, when you look up and you've got, 4 guys playing in that second half that didn't start the season on our offensive line in a Missouri Valley game that's going to be tough and physical, and still be able to go and move the football. I was proud of their effort. Obviously, we'll continue to dive into the film here this morning and their grades, but didn't give up a sack. DJ got out of a couple. And, they just battled. At that point, you're just putting in, who's ready and healthy and able to go. Derek going out and being out the whole second half, that's a captain. And but the guys, the resiliency to show up and play, Cam, another senior, just wasn't able to go. And Jimmy has had to step in there, and a guy that probably didn't think he'd be playing was in critical moments. And so, I think when you look at us, offensively, we've had that in the last couple games of, those drives in the second half to go put a team away. And obviously we've been great to start games and put people in some conflict and, what they've shown on film. And that's me, got to be better, in game. Some of it is just some execution things. We got to be good on third down. We've picked up third downs. I think we're top 5 in the country in conversion downs against the schedule we have. So we've been successful, but there's still going to be some crucial third downs where we got to sustain those drives. And there's some opportunities there. Obviously, the one that, we found ourselves in a 1st and 20. We still pick up a first down. We get to a third down. We thought they were going to be in 2-man. They were in 2-man. We call a good play. We weren't able to execute. That's where it's got to be team football. We hit a good punt. And then, the drive with Curry's got to come in for one play, call a screen, and it goes for like 50 yards, and we get a holding call that, I think there was one holding call in the entire game, which can be frustrating because it's kind of behind the play, didn't have an effect on the 50-yard gain. And, those are the ones that you look back at that we get down to the 27-yard line. Now they're going to have to start calling their timeouts, and we can close out the game and kick a game-winning field goal or go punch the ball in, but we don't, so we go backwards. And then obviously overtime, we had our opportunities. We score on the opening. Really, that first overtime is where, we've got to find a way to win that game. And we get them into a 3rd and long on their first drive, and then they pick up the 4th down, and then obviously the 2-point shootout. And they made one more than we did.
You talk about that and the emotions. I know it didn't end in a win. How did you feel your team managed the emotions of the 2-point tries going back and forth? And as you say, if there are things out of your control, calls get made, calls get missed, but how did you feel your group just the next play, just to set yourselves up and not get too bent out of shape on maybe a call that didn't go your way in the overtime?
Yeah, no, I think whoever was there or watching it saw a team that responded the way they were supposed to. They answered. Then the second one, they go down and score, so we've got to score. We score on the first play. We only had 2 plays in overtimes. And so those guys going out there and executing, and then we've got to pick up the 2-point conversion to tie it, and we do. Schwindy makes a great grab. And so the responses were good. I think that probably in-game, I've learned that too. I mean, you're the head coach, so the defense and – some questionable calls, we'll send them in, but it doesn't do you any good in that moment, is now looking back. And that's a frustrating thing too, is like, obviously we don't have the camera angles that some schools have. The ball, clearly out and not crossing the goal line. That's what they're reviewing, but we don't have the camera angles to show that. just watching the guy strain to make that hit and push him out a half yard early, the ball, and creating a fumble. We had some things bounce our way, but also they put the ball on the ground, I think 3 or 4 times, and weren't able to come up with just the way the one got kicked. That could easily be 2 turnovers for them, and so it was just one of those games, man. I think for Saluki fans, 5 overtimes. I don't know if we've ever been that deep in an overtime game, and back and forth, the excitement. I felt the people that were there made a difference there at the end. They were into it. They were on their feet, the people on the sideline. And that's where you feel like, man, if we could have made that one play and made it a different ending.
As you described in your press conference, I hate to have you repeat yourself, but what was just – there's many things that just make you feel sick, and it was – that drive to tie the game, Paul's kick ultimately to tie after he missed the kick that was they called a timeout and got him a retrieval. I mean, to get yourselves in a position, just a tremendous job by DJ to set you guys up for that game-tying kick.
Yeah, no, I think it's one in the totality. You look back, and it's one of the best end-of-game 2 minutes that I've been a part of as far as here to go win the game. That's what you think about and dream about as a quarterback, and especially in a time that the momentum was on their side, and to say like, hey, we got a minute 10. The defense did a great job forcing a field goal, no timeouts, and we've got to go. And guys made plays. DJ stepped up. I thought DJ, battled his tail off yesterday. Knowing that he's getting 2 shots on 2 different parts of his body to his knee, his shoulder. He gets hit in the head, comes out for a play. But then in that moment, there was a desire and a competitiveness to go will his team down there, and then a huge kick by Paul, into the wind. And to put it into overtime and regain it, and then we score then we kind of regained the momentum at that point, where it was like we just went on a 2-minute drive. We scored in one play, and so many good things, but just not enough.
Happy for Jace Clark. You obviously have that fake field goal there in the early third quarter, able to pitch it up ahead to Ryan Schwinneman. You guys have practiced that for a long time throughout this year to be able to execute it in that moment. And I know from that point, that's when South Dakota went on a little bit of a run in the game, but still those were important points. Those were important points, especially capitalizing off that pick you had to start the second half.
Yeah, no, that was a great way to start the second half. I don't think they punted in the game, but we got that crucial INT, and Jay Black taking it all the way down there. We went 3 plays and weren't able to run the ball in, and then we knew we had that fake field goal kind of in the bag and ready for it, and the guys did a great job executing it. And it's kind of like the fakes that we've had this season. Is they just don't come off a whim. They've got to be the right look. You've got to practice it over and over to make sure the execution is good, and then trust in them too that if the look isn't the same, that we can just get out of it. So a lot of moving parts on those things. They did a great job.
We've had so many conversations, Coach Hill. I'll wrap it up on this standpoint. I appreciate your time. There will always come a time, and I'm sure you can relate to this as a former player, where you always wish that you just had that one more game. That extra game. All these games are special. Even though as bad as you wanted yesterday to set up kind of a win and get in for a playoff game, for a lot of these seniors, for a lot of these guys on this team, you never know when your last game will be. You've never questioned how they come to work each and every day, and you'll see them later today. But I know it's disappointing, but every week is a special week that you guys get to come to this locker room and prepare for a game. That's exactly what you have here to end in an in-state rivalry game with Illinois State.
Yeah, without a doubt. We've we'll show up and prepare, compete the same way that we've done each and every week, and I don't think there's anybody that has questioned that with this group. I know so, and so it won't be any different, and it won't be any different than on a Sunday. Half of the country, lost yesterday, and you have that feeling in here. Sundays are good for getting in here. That's why I like to meet on Sundays and not Monday mornings, is to get in here and to, as a team, put it to bed, watch it, grow from it. It's my job as the head coach to continue to lead this group and inspire them and find the messaging to say to come out and play. But we will enjoy being around each other for these last 6 days. I know I won't take it for granted. Was talking to some friends and mentors even today, and got a text that really meant a lot to me too, and was like, I miss being in that opportunity. Don't miss the opportunity that you're in, even in today, to lead those young men in times like this, like you're in that position for a reason, and go and do it. And there'll be a day that it's just part of the game. And it's the unfortunate part, I tell people all the time, I mean, I said this yesterday. I mean, there's nobody that has to tell you, how. I mean, probably no more than me. Whether you're offense, defense, special teams, you hang on to all of it. There's a lot of families involved in this thing. That's where when you walk off, it's tough. And my kids are at the age now, and you see your daughters crying. Your wife crying because they put in just as much as you. Everybody in here does. And so you want to do well for everybody, the fans, everybody but yourself, really. And then so, we're gonna respond the right way. We're gonna stand in here, and the things that we preach as a program, they will be on display this week in our final week.
Coach, really appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.